Now from robotics to data, and Australia's 2022 Young Farmer of the Year, Brad Egan. So Brad was facing a dilemma with declining rainfall and soils depleted in nutrition. Rather than burying his head in the sand, and we all know that there is a lot of sand in his home state, Brad turned to data to drive farm efficiency and productivity. So I will bring Brad up to the stage.
We grow a range of crops, wheat, barley, canola and legumes, and we're faced with a fair few challenges where we are. Our soils are basically very unhealthy soils, very depleted in nutrition. You'd class them as sands. That coupled with the declining rainfall, it makes for some challenging farming. When faced with challenges, rather than burying your head in the sand, we really took the opportunity to make improvement, because unsustainable farmers don't continue farming. What we aim to do is increase the clay content within the soil. It increases the water holding capacity, which has a multitude of benefits to the land. In the past, if you don't get rain, you can't grow a reasonable crop, whereas I think we've lost about 80 mil on our annual average rainfall, whereas our wheat yield's gone up 1.5 tonnes to the hectare, which is a result of all the work that we're doing here on farm and the data analysis to convert gut feel into data-driven decisions. Where we're farming here, one special thing that we do is supply all of the local produce to the local brewery. We get to grow the barley through the year, tend to it, and then pick out the best grain at the end of the year, and then it gets turned into beer. How good's that? Sustainability, it's crucial for farming, because it's not only our cycle, our generation that's going to be working, it's going to be future generations as well. It was a great experience to win Young Farmer of the Year. It was a humbling experience because I never thought I'd get recognised, especially at a national level. So I think sustainability is the most important thing that a farmer could achieve.
Hi, I'm Brad, and as you've just seen in the video, I'm farming in Scaddan, Western Australia. I'll just start off by saying that I'm very much a farmer by trade, not a presenter. Public speaking was definitely my least favourite topic during school and university, so anyway, we'll get through this. We're farming a 3,400 hectare broadacre cropping operation, mainly growing wheat, barley, canola and field peas. And our 10-year average rainfall is around 390 mil, which I'll get into a bit more later. We're a family business, which means I get to work alongside my mum and dad every day, which is very special. And we also employ one full-timer. I returned home to the farm in 2017 after completing my Bachelor of Agribusiness at Curtin University. And I've been loving it ever since. And another fun fact about our farm is that we supply all the raw barley to the local brewery, Lucky Bay Brewing, which you all get to sample a bit of later on tonight. We've actually shipped a couple cartons over here, so hope you enjoy it. And I'm here to talk to you today about what we're doing on farm, and particularly my influence in using data to drive decision making. So we're faced with a variety of constraints and challenges where we're farming. We have extremely variable soil types, ranging from anything from deep light sands to sand over clay duplexes to heavier limestone loams. Now those sands are very challenging. They suffer from non-wetting, waterlogging and compaction, which makes it difficult to be able to grow a good crop. And the subsoil clays beneath them are boron toxic and sodic. All of our soils are low in fertility, with our average organic carbon percentage being 0.9% in our topsoil. So that's not 9% that I do hear is possible on the East Coast, but 0.9%, and extremely low in all nutrition, I guess. And on top of all this, we're faced with dryland salinity, which is quite prevalent. Our climate has been challenging us. as we've been experiencing a long-term trend of declining rainfall. And we're also faced with more extreme events such as frost and heat shock. In fact, our 10-year we've been below average rainfall for the last 5 years in a row, which is obviously quite challenging given we're a dry land operation. And we've actually had 3 of our driest 6 years on record within the last 6 years, with 2018, 2019 and 2020 all being sub 200 mil growing season rainfall events. And then, as with all farmers in the room, we're faced with many external pressures on our business. Our cost of production has skyrocketed in the last few years, mainly due to our input prices of mainly fertiliser and chemical increasing significantly, as well as supply chain issues being present. Commodity prices have been high, which has been good, but it is a very volatile market, meaning that we could go spend a record amount on growing a crop through the year only for the market to change and our margin gets swept away from us. Land prices are on the rise, meaning that expansion is becoming more difficult. However, it has been quite difficult to expand in our area for a significant amount of time. And obviously interest rates are a challenge as well, especially in recent times. So a key part of our story of beginning to better utilise data for on-farm decision making came following 2019. It was our worst year on record. We'd only had 225 mil for the whole year. We'd copped our worst frost on record in conjunction with this, and in fact we suffered 2 nights of a frost event, which we spent over 16 hours below -2 degrees, right as the wheat was flowering, which is perfect. So due to this poor production year, we had been advised to pull back on spending for the following year, 2020. Now, we'd planned to do a large amount of soil amelioration that year, mainly in the form of clay spreading. Now, clay spreading cost upward of $2,000 a hectare to perform. Now, as I said, we were being advised to pull that from the budget, but I knew I had a really strong gut feel, even though I've been back on the farm for only a few years, that we should go ahead with it. We should, not pull back, we should push forward. But I didn't have the data, I didn't have the knowledge, and more importantly, I didn't have the assurity in myself that it was the right decision. So what I did is I went about pulling together all the numbers, making some spreadsheets, which I love, basically determining what the costs were, the yield responses, and determining the return on investment. From this, I used those numbers and the support and experience of my parents to demonstrate our confidence in the decision, and we went ahead and performed the amelioration that year. And this process wasn't just to showcase to our external stakeholders, such as advisors, that it was the right decision, but it was also for us to have that verification of what we were doing was the right thing. So as I said just previously, we're faced with a variety of challenges and constraints where we are. And due to the hostile environment that we're working in, we have to be far better at making more off less. Luckily, there are many opportunities at our disposal to be able to achieve this. The lowest hanging fruit in our operation has been soil amelioration. We do a lot of soil amelioration on farm, which includes clay spreading, delving, deep ripping and spading, mainly all centred around trying to increase the clay content of our really sandy soils. So we're digging up our subsoil clays and spreading them or getting them mixed through our topsoil sands. And this achieves a higher water holding capacity and higher nutrient availability to the plant, meaning that we've basically got a bigger bucket to be able to draw nutrition and moisture from. We started doing soil amelioration at a smaller scale before we moved into the larger programs that we have been doing in the last few years. So what started off at 10, 20 hectare increments is now 100, 200 hectare a year, which means that the summers have gone from spending time at the beach playing in the sand to playing in the sand in the paddock. Precision ag techniques have also allowed us to become far more efficient and better at what we do. We implement many PA techniques on farm. Variable rate control is probably chief among them, which allows us to be far more targeted with our applications and our inputs. So we're variable rating nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, seed, all forms of applications on our property valbrated to match the inputs to our outputs, meaning we're far more efficient and we're getting less wastage. Alongside variable rate, I also implement a lot of trials to always be probing the system. Strip trials in the paddock built into maps so the operator doesn't have to do anything on the machine, it's already preset, and it's always trialling whether we'd be better off going over or under what the whole paddock was. We also implement controlled traffic farming and section control and auto shut-off on all implements, again to be more efficient, and we have strategic testing programs in place to always be tracking soil nutrition, plant nutrition and grain nutrition. Basically doing a whole season budget of what we've applied through the year. And the other large opportunity at our disposal was utilising data that we already had on farm. As many of you know, especially in the broadacre cropping game, there's a hell of a lot of data out there just always getting recorded. And I saw that as an opportunity of using that data to then further develop my own understanding and learnings within ag, but also opportunities to help us expand. Upon coming back from university, I digitised all of our ag records. So what went from a few notebooks between different machines and never being able to remember what we did in which paddock and when, we can pull our phones out at any stage now and have all of that information on record. And it also allows us to then analyse that data and understand historic trends and make our decision making better in the future. So I firstly saw data as a way to fast track my learning as being a farmer, because as we know, we get one season to make a decision, and it's not till the end of that season that we see the result. And I saw data as a way of understanding what we've done in the past so that I can better understand what we do in the future to become more profitable and productive. As a result of the correct implementation of all these practices, even though we've been experiencing that long-term trend of declining rainfall, which over the last 10 years has dropped by 15%, our average wheat yields have actually increased by 45%, as you can see on that graph. As you remember, our last 5 years have been below average rainfall, resulting in our average rainfall actually dropping from around 400 mil when I came back to farm to actually, it's back at 340 mil now. Yet our average wheat yield is at the highest it's ever been. So as you will see on the orange line, the average wheat yield that we're achieving now is actually including that 2019 year that I was just talking about, which was our worst year on record. However, the last 2 years have been our best 2 wheat crops that we've ever grown. So to further illustrate what changes we've made on farm, I'm just going to show you some yield maps quickly, all of which share the same scale. No colour is no crop, red is the worst, blue is the best. This is a farm we purchased in 2015 that had been rather run down for a long time. It had been on the market for 9 years because it had been regarded as the sandiest block in Scadden. This first map shows the first 2 years of canola grown on that farm. And it was before any amelioration had taken place and our management had any real influence on the production. The left-hand side of the map was a decile 6 rainfall year, 420 mil. The right-hand side, decile 2 rainfall, 350 mil. The red dotted line shows the split between the years. Now I've circled 2 areas of interest. The red circle on the left-hand side is some quite even, high-yielding country, which was heavier soil, and the black circle on the right-hand side, some of the poorest crop in those maps. Now I want you to remember this map because I'm going to jump ahead 6 years to last year's canola. This is what we've achieved. So as you'll see, we've brought a lot more land into production. And not only that, we've evened up the production. We've alleviated a lot of the poor areas of crop and production. And as you can see in those photos, within those circles, the red circle is actually lower yielding than that last image. So our good heavy country that was the good yielding in the higher rainfall year of 420 mil actually only got 360 mil last year because it was decile 3. However, the black circle on the right shows some of the highest yielding areas now, which was on some of the worst. And this was a deep sandhill that we've performed clay spreading to, amelioration, increase the production. Change doesn't come without challenges, however. Now, whilst we've had good success with our performance and increasing our production and profitability, I've had an immense amount of support from my immediate family, and my beautiful partner Laura, who I always have to give a shout out to because she's really helped me on this journey. And communication has been such a big part of this journey. If we weren't all on the same page, all trying to achieve the same goal, going ahead in that 2020 year, outlaying such a significant amount of capital would have been such a tough decision for everyone to sit comfortable with. However, data let us be sure in that decision and also be open with each other to understand. And it's been a big investment to make these changes as well, which has meant that our external stakeholders, such as our bank manager, Ryan Meldrum, who's in the room, who's been a great help as well, and our farm consultants have also needed to understand and support what we're doing. We've gained their confidence by analysing the data, understanding what's happening on farm, the risk, the cost, the benefit, and it's validating that gut feel and demonstrating what the benefits are. And from there, we have the hard conversations back with data. And sustainability, it's been talked about a lot today, but it is the core of what we're doing. Environmental and economic sustainability, in my view, are very much echoing each other. These long-term soil improvements and best management practices allows us to grow diverse rotations, increase fertility of the soils, increase biomass, which means increased carbon fixation. We're growing crops where we never could before, and we're doing it well. We're being profitable, not only in the economic sense by making money, but also in the environmental sense. Those soils would never have been able to be as productive as they are without our intervention. Our increased application efficiencies by understanding our yield potentials and matching our inputs to the outputs has allowed us to elevate to a level that we've never known before. Our soils, historically, as was in that previous graph, we might have been trying to target around a 3 tonne per hectare average. Now that number is, if we're growing a 3 tonne wheat crop, it's not a great year. And we've been able to also reduce our salinity issues by better drainage and increase crop growth. And despite everything that we're doing on farm, as far as increasing our production and profitability, I still think the coolest thing is being able to provide the raw grain to the local brewery, Lucky Bay Brewing. Not only is it a great experience to be able to grow a crop through the year and see it turned into an end product, which luckily is beer, and I tend to head down to the brewery a bit and get stuck in, but knowing that it's been made with our barley and seeing other people enjoy it is just such a rewarding experience. And it's a reflection of our ultimate end goal, which is to grow a healthy crop, grow it sustainably, and being able to produce at a high quality, which then can be turned into a high quality product, which is what we're aiming to do with our whole operation. So in summary, despite the challenges that we're faced with in agriculture at the moment, it is a very exciting time. There's so many opportunities at our disposal to be able to rectify these constraints on production and elevate us to a level that have never been thought possible in the past. And it's all come off the back of being able to adapt and innovate. And the data that was already sitting there, so this wasn't something that we just had to go and spend money on a new investment. This was stuff that we already had on hand. Using that data to validate our gut feel, to be more informed with our decision-making process, gives us so much more confidence as growers when we're outlaying such large amounts of capital. And sustainability is the highest priority, and I think it's one of the best things that a farmer can aim to achieve. And in order to achieve sustainability, we always need to be continually seeking out new ways to invest and improve our current production systems and never to be too complacent with what we're doing. So just to finish up, I'll pose the question to the room, especially to the growers. How do you guys see, in what way do you think that you'll be able to implement data-driven decision-making into your business to be more profitable and sustainable into the future? Thank you.